YourPopFilterinos, and welcome to the Pop Filter Podcast, the progenitor of the superhero show, nay, our movie of the year, Netflix and doing bits. This is the only podcast conglomerate with the science and the scream to determine what the greatest piece of pop culture has been for the entire existence. One movie of the year is currently covering 1975. The superhero show is digging into the comic book-based shows out currently. In these bonus shows, we are celebrating 10 years of Your Pop Filter by figuring out the best new albums, TV comedies, TV dramas, and movies from 2011 and 2020. The new ones from that decade, mind you. Tonight, we're focused on pop culture entity of those 10 years. I'm your host, co-founder Mike Gravano, and with me, as always, is Ryan.
It's crazy how when you talk that fast, your face gets very red for you, and yet you become a normal me. We're the same color now.
It's because you're ginger. That hasn't been brought up on these shows.
Yeah. Did you know that that Novocaine does not work on me?
I've heard that. A fun thing people like to point out is you are allergic to ginger and you're a redhead. My favorite color is purple, and everything I own is purple, and I'm allergic to lavender.
Yeah.
Oh.
What a wacky pair.
The things we are kill us, and isn't that America?
Hey, Mike, real quick, if I could. What a decade it's been, and
what a decade it's been.
You haven't won a bracket, but if you had, you'd be my favorite thing from the last 10 years.
Thank you.
Oh,
That's beautiful.
That was so sweet.
Yeah.
I think
every
it
bracket
sucks.
I've given people. Okay, that's my internal monologue. Every bracket I gave people, all our panelists had, they got to submit. Nobody ever said Mike. And I know I'm not an album or a TV show, but it would have been nice.
It feels like an oversight now.
Yeah. I know I'm one of the few real people in the Pop Filter Hall of Fame, but it's not enough for this bottomless pit of need.
Also, it's not a big deal, and I deeply meant what I said. But after we record this, we're going to record the mixtape of the decade, and we only get 3 songs. And if I could get a 4th song, that would be great. It's not why I said that, but
oh man,
that would be one way to pay me back for saying the really nice.
A better argument would have been to not bring up that at all, and I would just have warm feelings for Ryan, and maybe we would have become a 4th. You fucking idiot. Ryan, what defines pop culture to you in the last 10 years?
Oh, my goodness. I really do think that if I had to define pop culture, there's so many people that I look back on. Jeffrey Tambor, Louis C.K., Harvey Weinstein. But the people who really made pop culture for me were, I don't know, Mike, if I could just run down my top 7 best friends of all time.
Do it. Run it down.
Of course you, plus Greg, plus Taylor, plus Cassie, plus McKenna, plus Caitlin, plus Taylor. That's what I think pop culture is having a format, a platform to discuss what I love about pop culture, and then in turn what I love about all of them. And it's not that I love them more than you, Mike. I love you more. And again, I'm hoping for a 4th song on the mixtape, but
I had forgotten. Now I know it's tit for tat, and I don't like none of that.
No. But that is what pop culture means to me. Is just
lies.
We now have these ways to discuss what we love with the people that we love.
All these people we love are here. Let's introduce them one by one, so it's not a chaotic mess. Your sometimes host and always panelist of Move the Year is Greg.
Hey.
Define in one sentence pop culture of the last 10 years.
The scandals became very unfun. It used to be part of like following pop culture used to be, like, oh, what are these zany people getting up to in their free time? And now it's like, oh, that's what they're getting up to. Okay.
That's what you're up to, you fucking decadent fucks.
Seems really bad. Seems like you shouldn't. Okay. Yeah. So I miss I guess now we have like cool scandals like white celebrities who refuse to bathe. I think we need more of those.
That is for the next decade
yeah.
for sure. We don't bathe and we don't bathe their kids. What are you going to do about it?
We all stink.
We also have the host of the Superhero Show, Cassie Davis.
What's up? Do you need me to describe the whole decade in one word? Just you want a decade in one word?
Greg had a sentence. You get a word.
Wild. Boom. Asking you'll get it.
She did
it. Boom.
Your host of Root Beer Reviews, we have in one flavor, Taylor. Describe pop culture of the last 10 years.
Godless.
That's a flavor.
Yeah.
It's a bit like tarragon. Over from the Unnatural 20s, our friendly friend, we got in one sound, Caitlin will describe the decade of the last 10 years. And also from the Unnatural 20s, we have describing in a book of the last 10 years, books.
Shit, I can't only think of books I like right now. I think Chaos Walking.
that sounds... 1, great book. 2, I think covers the last 10 years. We, over this summer 2021, we have created the best album of 2011 to 2020, the best TV drama, best TV comedy, and best movie. Tonight, there will only be one winner to rule them all. Are you all ready to just dive in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Round 1, Battle 1. It's your album of the decade, Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly, versus your TV comedy of the decade, Happy Endings. Which piece of art more captured what it means to be pop culture?
Listen, I think we all know. We can dance around the bush all you want. Like, I'll let Mike host this, but I think we all know where this goes.
It's happy endings.
Happy endings.
But yeah.
It's happy endings. It might be split, so Taylor, argue for To Pimp a Butterfly.
Okay, so if I go down the street and I talk about Kendrick's To Pimp a Butterfly, everyone will be like, yeah, absolutely. I remember exactly where I was when that album came out. If I ask people about the show Happy Endings, 80% of the people I talk to are going to be like, I don't know what that is.
That's a low guesstimate. I think it's 95% of people you talk to.
It's the show people pass over on Hulu when they're trying to get to the show that they want to watch. That's how they know it.
And pass over on HBO Max now.
And
it's
Netflix.
climbing on all of the streaming services and Netflix. You can pass over it in numerous places.
But this might be an opportunity, right? Because then fans of this show can get out ahead of all the crazy happy endings discourse there's going to be on Twitter. And so now is the time to think about doing that. And wouldn't we contribute a lot to that discourse by saying that this show was better than one of the greatest albums of all time? Wouldn't that be a great sort of like shot across the bow of the discourse?
Happy Endings has... it's speed bumps, right? It's not a perfect show, but it's not perfect.
Nearly.
Is it racist? Maybe. It's commenting on racism.
When it's not perfect, it's because of how fucking white it is.
Yeah.
So, this is a lot.
It's a very white, very straight show. Even for a show...
Even with Max?
Yeah.
Especially the straightest guy on the show is Max.
Yeah, for sure. And it really does solve the problem of like, well, none of us are gay, so we don't know how to write for this character. It's like, well, just make him like one of us. Just a dude who loves farts.
I see that argument, but I'll also raise you, every other gay guy who's been on TV is like, I'm the funny best friend.
And then when they bring that guy in, the show really kicks into another gear. No, it's
well, they very purposely like, this is what you said you wanted, people. We are saying, like, Maxes exist in the world. I've met many a Max in my life.
Yeah.
They are, quote unquote, a straight dude. They just like dick. It's the reverse Mike, is what some people call it.
A gay dude who doesn't like dick?
Yes.
I was just clearing it up for everybody at home.
Thank you.
But To Pimp a Butterfly feels like bigger than music, and Happy Endings doesn't feel bigger than comedy to me.
Yeah, I don't know that Happy Endings is the equivalent of a musical artist who's won a Pulitzer.
Wait, Mike, did Happy Endings win any Pulitzers? Could you look that up real quick?
Can we see?
That's still out, I think.
Okay.
They're still voting on that Pulitzer.
It's an audit. It's an audit, so we don't know.
I feel like this is a real let's discuss Happy Endings time before we don't get
Let's
to
talk about the merits of Happy Endings.
I was genuinely surprised that it won. I thought that, we are big fans, but nobody else is, right? It was a underwatched show that got canceled. Something else would win Best Comedy. Happy Endings did. That's probably as far as we should go, Happy Endings.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, you did it. You won Best Comedy, which is crazy because like Parks and Rec was
because I thought that you would lose in the second round.
And then you went all the way to the end, and we were like, okay, you won. Way to go.
Everybody is unsure of who voted for it, but it certainly did win.
Yeah, whoever that person is.
One of the people who was not actually on that episode, I can confidently say I did not make this mistake. That was not on me.
It's not a mistake.
What do you
you
think should have won instead of the actual Best Comedy?
I think Fleabag should have been up there.
It was up there.
It was in there.
They were all up there.
Somebody.
Yeah.
I think it got taken out in the first round.
Did it lose to Happy Endings?
It might have. But all I can imagine is Kendrick Lamar, hot off Good Kid, Mad City, right? has another fucking record in the oven, and that oven is about to ding because that record is done, and then Kendrick Lamar is like, ooh, 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 and he takes that album out of the oven, and we got To Pimp a Butterfly.
Wow, I'm hungry now. I'm hungry for some Kendrick.
I just want to let you know that Fleabag lost against Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right.
That's kind of bullshit.
Everybody get off my fucking dick about it, okay? All right. Everybody vote at once. Can I hear a yay or nay for happy endings?
Nay.
This is an awful way to do this.
Yeah.
We are on a podcast.
A yay or nay?
You just wanted us to sound like horses.
Yay!
Yay! This is
All these horses are naysayers.
Next time Mike does this, we are silent the entire time.
It is clear that To Pimp a Butterfly moves on, and don't worry, we will talk about it. Or you could just go listen to the fucking best album
we
of the
talked
show.
about
We'll
it.
talk about
Oh,
it.
we have 4 entire
Right.
podcasts dedicated to that album.
That's true. Through the years.
Yeah.
We'll get the intern to compile those together, and you can just listen to the master cut. Next up, your battle is TV drama Watchmen versus movie of the decade, The Master. This is interesting.
The Master, huh? You guys picked The Master, huh?
Taylor wasn't on the movie show, and when he found out The Master won, he was surprised. Taylor
would have picked
Sounds
Pitch
like you have
Perfect
some-
2.
shit to talk.
Listen, I don't necessarily have shit to talk. I just think
He's enunciating a lot. This is uncomfortable.
That was some cocky enunciating right there.
I just don't think that The Master was even Paul Thomas Anderson's best movie of the decade. So an interesting choice, to be sure. Is just all I will say about it.
You're the Thomas Pynchon one. You're that kind of guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love an
Inherent
Inherent Vice.
Inherent Vice.
Yeah.
You know what?
Listen.
I'm a little weird. I love an inherent bias.
Was it Phantom Thread? Which was it that we should have done?
I think Phantom Thread also was better.
Not even in the discussion.
Yeah, I think maybe The Master was his worst movie of the decade, but that's my opinion of his
Wow.
filmography.
My goodness. May I just say, is this too rude for me to say?
I'm not
My
sure.
goodness.
I mean, we my goodness is not too rude for you to say.
Our opinions are being pilloried here. I feel like we're being
I'm
absolutely
sorry.
pilloried.
I also like.
apologize.
I'm hearing it's not the worst, but he still hasn't said what Anderson movie should have been.
Well, fine then. Phantom Thread, I think, is
Okay,
probably his best.
fucking
You could
say it with
argue
your whole chest.
Listen, I love almost all of his movies. The Master, maybe the only one I don't like.
What don't you like about it, Taylor?
I don't know. It rubbed me extremely the wrong way at every step. I haven't revisited it since it came out, so maybe my opinion would be changed upon a revisit.
You might want to watch it again.
You did famously make famous the phrase "pig fuck."
Yeah.
And so, were you mad that you didn't get paid for that?
A little bit, because I had been in negotiations, and there had been some contracts floated, and then they just sort of changed a few things, and suddenly I was cut out. So I was a little hurt. But it is what it is.
Does anybody want to come to the Master's defense, Greg?
I think The Master is an excellent movie and an excellent sort of like look at American culture, and by engaging with Scientology is very interesting, but I think also just looking at masculinity and about control and
War, veterans.
yeah. So I
Sandcastle humping.
yeah, dude.
Yeah. Not enough movies talk about that.
Like how to pick a fight really effectively. Just put hot lights right next to people's faces. So I think The Master is a great choice, and I
How to
think
give a solid heejee.
I would even say it's better than Watchmen, the TV show.
Whoa.
Oh,
Whoa.
Throwing down a gauntlet.
I don't really think it's a competition here, guys. Let's just change the narrative real quick and just say, let's all admit that The Master is very much better than the Watchmen TV show, and then let's move on from there.
Yeah, maybe that we all touch base.
Yeah.
I think I strongly disagree. I think I've made my feelings about The Master be well known. And also my feelings about the Watchmen TV show are well known. That I believe I said on an earlier podcast, it is the single best piece of art I've seen put to film in the last decade. So
that's
look,
hard to
on a
argue.
podcast, we all say a lot of things.
Yeah. That's the whole point of the podcast.
Listen, sure, I say some hyperbolic stuff every now and then. Haven't we all? I think I at one point said if First Cow was the only movie shown in heaven, I would kill God and greet the devil in hell.
First Cow was
the
movie of the year of 2020. You son of a fucking bitch.
Yeah, and that, again, 2020, a godless year.
Was that true? Did it win?
First Cow.
I think it did win,
Cassie,
right?
Yeah.
defend Watchmen
We've talked
against Ryan's besmirchings.
We've talked about so much about how it did so much more than what was expected, and like the bar was on the ground, but it's an amazing show. It's visually compelling, the story's good, action kicks ass. Like it's got all the good parts. Whatever when you're making
action.
it's got action. Have you heard of it?
Action.
But yeah, it's just like it's all around a good thing, and I don't even know what The Master's about. Like I can't even.
It's
tell
got Joaquin Phoenix. It's got Philip Seymour Hoffman, and they're both
Rest
just
in peace.
acting their pants off.
And then the rest of the cast, you got Jesse Plemons, you got Amy Adams,
Yes.
other people.
And honestly, let's say hopefully one day, very soon, Joaquin Phoenix, rest in peace. Right?
We're all hoping for it.
I hope he dies.
I mean, he will on a long enough curve, Ryan.
I know.
Wait.
Live long enough to be the hero of the Master, or die soon enough to be dead.
Because some random podcaster is putting a fucking curse on you for some
Or
reason.
die having been in the Joker.
Amy Adams, she's in it. It's a perfect movie. No, it's a very imperfect movie.
But it's very good.
It's very good.
All right, we're going to go around the horn. Books. Which way are we going?
Watchmen.
Greg,
The Master.
Caitlin,
Watchmen.
Cassie,
Watchmen.
Taylor,
Watchmen.
Ryan.
The Master.
Even if I got an extra vote, then it's tied. It's Watchmen moves on. I agree that The Master is better than The Watchmen.
The movie of the year, boys, all agree that the movie is the best thing that happened.
But I've been accused it's because we're old white men now.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
And that's
we're into PTA.
that's why Vampire Weekend
What?
takes down movies.
Listen. I'm also into PTA. My favorite movie of all time is There Will Be Blood, and I don't like this movie.
Okay.
That is a worse movie than The Master.
We are going to handle this in the alley behind the studio. And when we come back, we are pitting To Pimp a Butterfly up against, I was going to say The Master because I did not fucking care about your vote, up against Watchmen. And we're in the finals already. It's crazy how fast we got here. It is Album of the Decade, Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly versus TV Drama of the Decade, Watchmen. Now we need to talk and hash it out. Is this just a bunch of white people feeling guilty about stuff? Cassie, your thoughts?
No, I mean both. Like it's crazy how well these are matched up because both like Kendrick's album is known for like its storytelling abilities and like what all it tackles, and so is Watchmen. Like it's crazy that these actually work so well to be put against each other, and I don't know what to do with it.
To Pimp a Butterfly asks the questions of what would they say if these walls could talk, and Watchmen shows that.
Yeah.
Greg, thoughts?
In Watchmen, they make the walls talk. I don't think it's a matter of like white guilt. I think it's just this developed very organically. You know, Watchmen, both of these things like blew us away. They changed our perspective on the mediums and on the world.
Oh,
so
you can do this?
Yeah.
Like both of them?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, totally, yeah. I mean, and
I thought you were questioning Greg.
No, sorry, no. I was trying to like...
yeah, and so I think that you know that like sort of aftershock that struck when we first encountered this pop culture is a real thing, and that we're still experiencing it now. For me, I think that Watchmen made a bigger ultimate impression on me. Maybe because, and I think this is where it comes down to, Watchmen is just the one season of the thing, and I do think that has made it a very strong contender all the way through. And To Pimp a Butterfly is just one album, but it is one of like 3 albums that you think of with this
Yeah, because Watchmen had to go up against True Detective and Stranger Things, where it's like, oh no, just stop. Oh
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
oh
just
no,
if you didn't
what did
do
you
more.
do? You did it.
But I do think, because who created Watchmen? It was
Lindelof.
Lindelof. So if we're going to put Kendrick Lamar's creative output of those 10 years, let's put Lindelof's too, just to make it a little fair.
What else did he do?
I've been recently going and watching The Leftovers for the first time, and you guys, it's fucking really good.
Yeah, Leftovers is dope.
It is. It turns out that it is.
But it turns out people make good art sometimes.
A lot of it's like, who is telling Black history, or like who's telling Black present with Black history all at the same time better? Kendrick Lamar or Damon Lindelof? And I sort of kind of think
That's an unfair battle.
that it's Kendrick Lamar.
We also have like reach too, and I don't know like which. I'm assuming Kendrick Lamar reaches more people than Watchmen did. Both are incredible, but I think Kendrick is probably more of a talking point than Watchmen.
Right. And what's interesting, I think one is, in general, people are more comfortable talking about TV and movies than they are music, but To Pimp a Butterfly is still brought up. Watchmen, like so much of viewable media, is talked about a lot while it's going on and then vacuums out.
Yeah. And like Kendrick Lamar really, with both Good Kid, Mad City and To Pimp a Butterfly, he like made it cool to have like a hip hop like concept album, which mostly before that was like, yeah, we're a prog rock trio and we've got a concept album, and it's like that. Those are the dudes doing that.
It's called the Holy Trinity. Put some respect on Rush's name.
And for every time that Watchmen brought up the Tulsa thing, there's a thing in Kendrick Lamar's album where he's like, I smell the yams, or like, what the fuck is that? And like, now I'm like looking up Invisible Man, and I'm reading books, and like I'm going back to that research, and I think it's actually more effective. I think that
He's got a deep well of references.
but I think that like I'm going to go back and reference or like figure out what these references mean more in this album than I am in this TV show.
I've made my opinion on Watchmen very known, maybe hyperbolically, but again, Kendrick Lamar is a hip hop musician who won a Pulitzer Prize for music, and that doesn't happen a lot. Like he elevated sort of multiple art forms with his albums.
And we're so stoked because Watchmen was like, comic book TV show, cool. But I think that, yeah, Mike, I think we're ready.
Books? You were going to say something?
Just going to say that I think what we take from Watchmen culturally is starting the conversation about Tulsa and the history that we've covered up. But what we take from To Pimp a Butterfly is actually everything about the album and its impact on culture. Watchmen was like a jumping off point for a culture to recognize. But looking back 10 years from now, I don't think much of us are going to talk about the show as much as we would To Pimp a Butterfly. So it's lasting impact.
All right. Voting time.
And that fucking gang of dudes outside of the White House, you know, like even the fucking album cover is iconic.
Mm-hmm.
Greg, vote.
Well, I was convinced, so I will go with To Pimp a Butterfly.
Caitlin, vote.
I'm going with Watchmen.
Ryan, vote.
I think it's To Pimp a Butterfly.
Books, vote.
To Pimp a Butterfly.
Cassie, vote.
To Pimp a Butterfly.
Taylor, vote.
To Pimp a Butterfly.
Mike, vote. To Pimp a Butterfly is your pop culture item of the decade.
Woo.
We have to burn everything else we've talked about this summer. It's the only thing we're allowed to consume from the past. It's all about the future or Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly. Thank you for joining us on this long journey. Look back at the history of pop filter and the culture we've consumed. We have one more show left, and it's mixtape, and god damn it, is it going to be great. Until then, keep listening to Pimp a Butterfly.